So today we're going to be talking about half-ton diesels. Now we've gathered two trucks for a comparison, a GMC Sierra Elevation with the Duramax inline 6 diesel 3-liter and a Ram Rebel with the 3-liter EcoDiesel. Both are half-ton trucks, both have 3-liter turbo diesels, both are in the mid to upscale trims, both are 4-wheel drive, both have 4 doors. We're going to find out which is the better buy for half-ton diesel pickups. Now we are in the Ram Rebel currently, and one of the things worth talking about is the two different attitudes these trucks have for the interiors. Honestly, neither of these trucks is an ergonomic success. Both seem to have kind of buttons placed all over their massive dashboards, and neither is a super easy vehicle to get used to. However, I'm going to give the winning edge in that competition to the Ram. Mostly because I just find its layout of buttons more logical, and I think it's overall a nicer interior. I like the way it's laid out. I think that things are in a little bit easier reach. I like the seats better, and I like the center console better. I would say I would put the Ram's interior ahead of GMC. In terms of integration of tech in your phone, both are about even again. They both use Apple CarPlay. They're both really easy to pair your phone with. There's not really a clear advantage either way. I will say though that between the two, the Ram has a much better stereo. Both have premium audio systems, but the Alpine system, there's a goose in front of me. Bye goose. The premium audio system in the Ram is just a little bit better, a little bit nicer than what I have in the GMC. It fills the space more, it has rich, evenly matched bass with the other tones. I'm just a really big fan of it. It works really nicely. And now I think we should talk about driving experience. They drive almost completely different. For example, the Ram Rebel drives like a pickup truck, and the GMC Sierra drives like a Buick LeSabre. The GMC is actually so soft and kind of wallowy that it kind of rolls around a lot and makes it feel like you're driving a vehicle that's even larger than it is. Both the GMC and the Ram are humongous and frankly too big, but the GMC feels even bigger due to its dashboard layout and its super duper soft springing. I like the attempts on the Ram for the springing much better. It's got a little bit more bump in its rides a little bit more stiffly, but ultimately that makes me feel a little bit more secure as a driver. Now the next thing we want to talk about is powertrain. Now the GMC unit is an inline 6 3-liter diesel single turbo, whereas the Ram uses a V6 single turbo diesel. Now the difference in that is that the GMC diesel sounds great. It sounds like a mini Cummins. It just sounds like everything we love about diesel trucks, whereas the Ram sounds like a postal delivery truck. Power delivery wise, again, the edge goes to the GMC. It feels like it has more torque, low down, and it's more eager to deliver that torque. The first throttle tip in little bit is a little bit sluggish on the GMC, and I put that down, the throttle mapping. They probably have a super conservative tune on the first 10%, but once you lay into it, it's no contest. The GMC feels like the more powerful truck, and it's the one I would rather drive around. Now, appearance is subjective, but I think it's pretty obvious that the Ram is the more dramatic and cool looking of the two. The Ram is kind of a fake cowboy vibe, whereas the GMC has a legitimate dad truck ride. It's worth knowing that both of these trucks were in my driveway for an entire week and nobody commented at all on the GMC. But just a few days with the Ram in my driveway, and neighbors were coming to my door to ask me about my cool truck. So the GMC kind of fades into all the other trucks, whereas the Ram stands out and people notice it, mostly because it has a giant mustache on the front. And now we gotta get down to numbers. Now, it's worth noting that the Ram does carry about a $10,000 price premium over the GMC Sierra Elevation that I drove. The Ram Rebel package with nothing else on it costs about the same as the Sierra Elevation package loaded up decently. So given that this Ram has about $10,000 in options, some of which I do and don't want, they're actually pretty even on price, although the price advantage goes to the GMC. It starts at a lower price, it has better content at that price, and as tested, it was the lower priced option of the two. So if you basically boil it down, think of it this way. The GMC has a better powertrain and does it for a lower price. The Ram, meanwhile, I'm not in love with its powertrain. I frankly would rather have a V8 gasoline engine, but it nails everything else. I like the ride, I like the interior layout, I like how it looks, And I think that pretty much gets all the important things. So I think my verdict is this. If you are buying a pickup truck because you are a worker and you tow very heavy things a lot, and you sometimes have to do it in inclement weather or off-road even, then you should buy the GMC. It is a more practical package, it has the better powertrain, and it will save you money over the Ram Rebel. However, if you are buying a pickup truck because you like pickup trucks and you think they're cool and you want to just do fun things in it, like go off-roading for no reason, then you should buy the Ram Rebel. It's the more fun of the two. It's lighthearted. It looks cool. Yes, it costs more money. Yes, it's ultimately not as practical as the GMC, but you're buying with your heart, not your head. So that is my verdict. Now, as someone who considers themselves about halfway in between those two camps, man, that's a really tough call, actually. But I think I'm just a little bit closer to going with the Dodge. The reason is I like the way it rides, I like the way it looks, and I like that I don't give up too much in terms of ultimate power with the diesel option. So there you have it. I'm calling it the Ram Rebel wins this comparison, although it was a really close one. If you want to see more comparisons, check out Driving.ca on social media, on Instagram and Twitter to see what we're driving next.